flanker. In general, it's just much more, I feel like, safe to land the root and then set up the team fight. But we'll see what actually happens here as the picks and bans are done. The lineups are on your screen. Team Dignitas narrowly lost game one. They were winning for a while, but it slipped away from them. Cloud9 navigated the comeback. We'll see if that can happen again. C9 1-0 in this series. They close one out. It's a 4-0 start to the LCS.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be incredible if they're able to get all of those wins and finish 2-0. Obviously, I guess we don't spoil the other streams. Someone else could go 2-0.
Of course.
That is the fancy thing, but Cloud9 would be guaranteed 2-0, which would be the best start they could hope for.
Liquid and FlyQuest on the other stream both had won their earlier matches, so we'll see who is going to be tied in first at the end of the day. C9 and Team Dignitas may be some favorites for it, but here we go as we get ourselves into Game 2. Cloud9 1-0 up against Team Dignitas, and we'll see if Jensen can navigate the Azir and a TF.
All right, so another tank matchup, Someday and Ray. Interesting how Ray sticking with him for Game 2. We're wondering if Impact was going to sub in somewhere in the middle, but Reaper being very coy with what his overall plans are. Once again, Ray on a tank. Several carry bans, though, with the Fiora and the Jace being taken away. And we'll see if this early game has any surprises, because last game it was actually quite subdued. Chaser did a great job of keeping contracts down, Lee Sin versus Kha'Zix. Now that matchup is switched.
Yes, it is. And that's always fun to watch when you get the sort of the salty run back, you switch the champions, and if Chaser continues to win in the jungle, we know he's the real deal. He tended to outplay Inori in their Phoenix 1 match last night. Contracts another jungler, North American resident that is, hyped up and we know is good. We'll see if that can continue. Ray floating around. I like that he kind of just glows bright green and brush. This skin specifically. Looks very pretty. Meanwhile, Maokai, less pretty.
Oh, man. Uncalled for.
I mean,
really? Who criticizes Maokai's looks? Really?
I mean, he's wearing a cat costume. They're like one of the worst mammals that could possibly exist. Yeah.
Freak enrages the internet. Volume 2.
People who like cat pics, idiots. Just, I'm kidding.
All right, then. We're going to get into the laning phase. Suddenly,
everyone's favorite shoutcaster. Yeah. All right, into the laning phase we go. Trying to fight for early wave control. Smoothie was unable to get the plants farther down in the lane. Xpecial holding the wave control nicely enough. Lands the empowered Q, and Sneaky down to 300. Good early trade. Looking to fight continuously, but look at the lifesteal they can get back. Xpecial left himself alone and lost the trade there in the back half.
Yeah, taking on level 1 Karma is really difficult, but once again, he does have to just wait on the cooldown of his Monster Q, and probably took a few too many autos. Thanks to that ward in the brush, he was unable to shield himself from vision. Trying to shove in early, though, because they really just want to make sure they hit that level 2 first. And there it is.
1 minute away is Cloud9's duo, so they're not too far behind. We'll see how that matches up here. Keen, red card, smacks him a couple of times. Jensen looks for the trade, gets plenty of damage. You can see that though Keen opted into the matchup, he's having a hard early time with it. Jensen spastically last hits a couple minions, gets them both, but here comes Chaser.
By Chaser.
Keen sold it a little bit too brightly.
That one's on Keen, actually, for going a little early, but now Chaser's here.
It was all a bamboozle. Ooh, nicely played. Whoa. Jensen really clean with that escape.
Yeah, and he's still got health potions, so he can probably stick around in the lane. No summoners having to be burned against a TF in a gank is pretty solid.
Ooh, another gold card, lands the Q afterwards as well. Nice punishment across. Jeez, these guys are hyper aggressive against one another. Jensen, though, is up in potions. Chaser coming back down to maybe help it out.
All right, it would be super dangerous for Chaser to actually gank that lane again, only because he's been shown for a while and contracts have been off the map for the entirety of the first 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah. Individual gold-wise, about 100 up. So contracts not going for the ganks like that. Did get about a camp ahead as a result. Chaser trying to catch up in the farm, and still, of course, a very, very close game on this one. Contracts now going back through where Chaser was not long ago. Still all summoners available in this mid lane, and Keen much better mana pool-wise. Jensen not going to be able to easily participate. Keen will wave clear second, and Jensen will recall and get second Doran's ring.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to watch Jensen on Azir as this game progresses, because it's a pick that seems to slowly be coming back up in the meta, even though it's not quite as powerful as it used to be. Only because some of my biggest memories of Jensen in the NALCS is when he first started on Azir. And he would always go for the big play. Yeah. He'd see the ultimate, and that seemed like almost all he wanted to do was slide around the team and land an ultimate, and he would die a lot and just looked impatient. But as Jensen has gotten better and better and been in the LCS longer and longer, he's keeping his mechanics and his reliability, but he's being patient and letting the big plays come to him. So I'm curious to see like when he will choose to go for the big Azir play, because I think it's something that he's really grown as a player into being better about choosing his moments.
Totally agree. Jensen definitely has continued to improve as a player. We've seen some come into the LCS, look good for a while, and fall back down. But I agree, Jensen has, I think, gotten better every single year, and he may continue to do so as he's looked pretty great in every game he's played so far in the LCS. Keen once again looking for the fight. This time without a jungler around, not too much gained. And more defensive wards coming out. This is smart. Ray gets the lane pushed up, walks down, grabs Honeyfruit, comes back into lane. But Ray is down pretty significantly in farm, minus 16. And the first recall will go to Someday. 2 Doran's rings, Ruby Crystal, gonna feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, Someday doing quite a good job in CS in this lane. Oftentimes, because of the base damages of Nautilus, he can actually shove in the Maokai. But in these tank v tank matchups, Someday much more experience playing them, and he's finding those small edges to eke out extra CS.
Speaking of eking out stuff, damage coming out from Jensen again, trying to push Keen around. Can't make the lasting mark. Keen is running magic resist glyphs. That 42 MR means he's much more durable in this fight, choosing that option to not get pushed around quite as much at the cost of less cooldown reduction.
Yeah, it looks like Jensen is running cooldown reduction per level, as is mostly common on mid laners who are looking to scale into the late game.
That's just kind of interesting that Keen is essentially itemizing, I should say, to have an easier time in lane, but that means that to a certain degree Jensen outscales. It's of course a very minor point. It likely won't decide the game, but look for the big play, forcing a flash out of Keen. Goes for the ulti because Contract is right around the side. That's Summoner down.
Like the angle there too by Jensen. A lot of times you think you just shoot him straight backwards with Emperor's Divide, but he was actually trying to shove him towards the Lee Sin. Keen having to flash right away, and even though the ultimate got burned by Jensen, not too much cost, and you can pull that off the next time.
Yeah, there's actually a lot to be said about what's good about the sideways ulti. The fact that it even reaches farther towards Keen because it's wider than it is tall in a sense. That even if he flashes short for some reason, it'll still catch him, etc. Slightly late shield from Special. We finally see Cloud9 getting the push lead back in this lane and up 10 CS even as the Zyra lane, right? No free plant last hits for this one. C9 finally getting the lead once again. And again, they went for the first pick, Zyra. They banned the Misfortune. They looked really hard to get the matchup. C9 again putting a lot of emphasis on making the bot lane look good.
Yeah, and Sneaky and Smoothie have been playing very well so far in this LCS split. A few criticisms were levied at Sneaky's laning phase last year, but he's looking to make good on that this year, at least early on.
Absolutely. Heartseeker, Sneaky looking to continue to pierce the hearts of his opponents and take him down. 500 gold lead overall for Team Dignitas. Again, largely off of Someday. Individually, that top laner's up 500. So there's the gold lead right there. Everyone else kind of becoming equal. Bot lane still a little bit slow. This will push down towards Cloud9 if they want it to. Good aggressive ward when it was pushed. Smoothie put that one down. They know Chaser's bot side. Even though he dodged the scuttle, he doesn't necessarily know that he got seen coming down here.
Yeah, very true. So they should be ready for it, but knowing they're against an Ashe who's close on the experience to level 6, you have to be quite careful.
Actually, I guess it was Contract warding it. Wasn't that a regular ward, not a trinket? So it was Contract who gave him the vision to be safe. Correct myself on the warding point. That is Contract who kept his bottom lane alive, getting that deep ward in.
Yep, very true.
Either way, Chaser just going to get the blue buff over. Times it well enough. The red buff wasn't going to steal it away from wild cards, and they know for sure blue was handed over. Keen back to the mid lane. And there's the wave clear from Jensen. Keen very safe on his return trip. No harm, no foul, no major gains being had. Yeah,
going a fairly heavy lane phase build, as you mentioned earlier, having the magic resist glyphs already, then going double Doran's Ring into what is most likely a Rod of Ages build. Very slow turning on Twisted Fate.
Yeah. We often see things like Zhonya's Rush or Lichbane Rush just for the increased spike, the early cooldown reduction to get more ultis off, and it's Keen just staying the course for a while. Chaser, again, on top of wards, really constantly being tracked by solid warding of Cloud9. They know he's left side. Lots of pings saying, I want to dive Ray, and they think they can do it.
Yep.
Of course, Keen can ulti. He's looking for it.
Down, 3-man.
1v3 ulted, still stunned up on a turret, does knock up Chaser, flashes out from the wild cards of Keen, and here comes Chaser once again to pull aggro. No, it's actually Keen who does so, and they get enough damage. First blood comes through. Keen able to walk away. Not even Summoners burned by the Team Dignitas trio. Well played on that side of the map.
Very well played, but the question is also, how do you respond to that? Someday does not have his TP up. Keen is very low, and C9 racing for the first turret.
I think Team Dignitas faster on the play. They're going to knock that one down pretty rapidly, and they're going to be ahead, I think, about 5 seconds. That one drops. C9 on the bottom side just now get the rest of the damage through, and on a very narrow margin, that gold surge is going Team Dignitas' way.
Yeah, good job right there. Keen able to find the window where he can leave the lane without losing a whole bunch, and helps with that kill. Also, Ray kind of abandoned his turret at the very start of that game. Although when you're getting ganked by 3 people, pretty difficult to stay alive. And this play is continuing. C9 is trying to get as much as possible. So he gets hit.
He gets hit. Here comes the capitalization. The chase is on. A quick knock coming through, but Someday is already there. Gonna land the Q. Gonna pick up the kill. 2-0 Team Dignitas. That TP worked out beautifully. Ray stuck on his side of the map. Unlikely to get the steal, and they won't get it. Quick pickup there for Team Dignitas. Ocean Drake. 10 minutes. Feels good.
Another solid start for Team Dignitas. This time, Someday able to make a much bigger impact than Ray. 30 CS up after that gank. Also the kill, and he is just everywhere on the map right now.
Chat with the unintentional pun. Looking beautiful. Bigger impact than Ray. I love it. Now watch the replay as Sneaky gets bopped.
Hate you. Right now we see the Ocean Drake coming back in. Teleport coming in as Ray was just meandering back up to the top lane. Sneaky can't get out of there fast enough. Someday still had flash up, even after the gank he had top lane and just close in. So pretty easy play there by Team Dignitas. C9 thought they had a bigger tempo advantage than they actually did, and they get collapsed on pretty quickly by Team Dig.
Yeah, great arrow. Lod, known for dodging all these arrows, lands his first major one of the game, immediately turns it into a kill or two, and the Drake take as well. So it looks like just games with Ashe in them feel pretty good for Lod as a player, even if C9 did win the first one, of course. But it's still good that maybe we get ourselves a 3-game series, maybe we get more. We'll see what happens. Plenty more league to play, but it feels like 80% of games, Team Dignitas get a pretty sizable early game lead.
This is their 5th game?
5th game. They went all 3 to P1.
Right,
they were losing early and made the comeback, and the other 2 I just feel like they were winning from the start. And early leads both games against Cloud9, so Team Dignitas certainly verdicts out so far, but early game team looks solid.
In this game in particular, it's been interesting because, at least at Worlds, when we're seeing the teams that are really clean and good at closing out games, 2 out of 3 winning lanes was leading the victory very often.
Yeah.
In this situation, C9 actually has 2 of the 3 winning lanes, and it's just the top lane that is advantage for Team Dignitas. But Someday and the rest of them have been able to snowball that lane so much, and then Someday came down and started helping the other lanes. So I'm giving a lot of credit here to Someday and Chaser for this early game at least.
Someday's up 31 minions already. I mean, he is really brutalizing this lane, and a lot of players say, oh, it's a tank. Oh, hold on, we gotta watch this fight first, though. Here comes the TPs, here comes plenty of damage, but Sneaky's gone. Smooth is gonna be next up. Chaser with the flash, the quick one, though, as Contracts turns it around, and suddenly Ray is here, and Maokai's nowhere to be seen. Uh-oh, double kill quickly, and kick into the wall. Contracts picks one back, runs away from Lod, stays alive. That makes it, though, only 2 for 2 overall. C9 lost their entire bot lane. It's only an equal trade for the turnaround.
Yeah, another TFL burned, however, so Jensen's going to do his best to rush down this mid lane turret. He's going to have to be careful, though, because the extension of these plays is dangerous. Someday behind Jensen.
And here comes the rest of the team to support it. Lod wants in. He's got the Ashe slows, and Jensen doesn't get very far. 600 HP left, has some backup. Lod takes a big chunk of health. Will they go on Someday? It feels risky. He's too tanky, and Lod can get the attacks in. And it means that Ray just has to back away. Not enough damage to get a Jensen just yet.
Jensen still has everything up, just not enough health to really go for a big play.
Can't get past Someday, it seems.
Yeah, Keen with 3 kills as well, so his Twisted Fate ultimates have been quite successful. It's just taking a toll on his mid lane turret as of now, and the game's really opening up as the tempo increases.
You see this play, it's just Contracts being safe, waiting over the wall.
Yeah, Sneaky kind of trapped himself up against the wall there, so great shot by Law, kind of undodgeable with no flash up. Then the kill just continues. Smoothie very low on the back end of this fight. Watch Keen. In his dying breath,
Oh,
catches
Smoothie did not need
with
to
the
die
wild
there.
card. Exactly, could have been 2 for 1 because Ray had the teleport advantage right there, making that a pretty dangerous move by Keen. Ray actually able to utilize it. keeping C9 close in this game.
Yeah. That was almost staked for Smoothie, but either way, it's still C9 who are feeling actually pretty good. They are the more conventional 5-on-5 team. You mentioned that in Champ Select, and they've been looking for the team fights, and it's been a more active game than the previous, at least a little bit. It feels like it anyway. We've seen a bit more action here. Jensen repeatedly trying to work down on that turret. Keep in mind, for some of you who haven't watched the Azir patch notes in a while, Azir W no longer affects turrets. You can't just summon it and just do sort of a bomb of damage. So Jensen's pushing has been fairly slow. If this were middle 2016, that turret would be dead by now, and nice steal by Contract.
Yeah. With that being said, though, especially in the late game, there is a lot of ability power factors into your turret damage quite heavily. And since Azir does build attack speed, he's still a good demolitionist in the late game. Yeah. But as you said, can't nuke quite as quickly by just pressing a button. Mid
game not quite as crazy, but it's enough here. Contract with the red buff helps chunk it down, and up in turrets, Cloud9 2-1 here, plus that Bastion summoned mid. Means they've got a fair bit of control to work with. Now, no Drake for another minute, but it does mean they can really work off that mid lane.
And I do also want to go really broad with my next point. As far as Sumday's super tankiness on Maokai and kind of why we're seeing these super tanks in the game right now. There's a lot of utility 80 carries that can't necessarily burst you out super fast. And especially when you have an assassin mid, there's just not that much sustained damage to take out a super tank. But in this situation for Cloud9, the sustained damage of an Azir is very like hyper carry-esque as far as a marksman goes, because not only is he scaling with the ability power and the cooldown reduction, he's also scaling with attack speed. So he just is much better at shredding through tanks. Likewise, they're getting a lot of percent health damage from Sneaky's Varus, and Smoothie's support does much more damage than other supports in Zyra. So if we get super late game, this could be a game where that unkillable Maokai we're so used to seeing isn't quite so unkillable, which is, I think, why one of the reasons Cloud9 was confident picking Azir later in this draft.
Yeah, I agree. To counter that point just slightly, they do have a defensive support here. Special can help Ray stay alive. We know Redemption's going to come in. That's going to be a lot of healing, etc., but you're right. The actual burn down damage does exist here for Cloud9. It'll just be somewhat of a race of the stats. Ocean Drake spawns up, and C9 just, again, they've had the control over mid. Hawk shot or no, it doesn't seem to matter. They're going to burn this one down pretty rapidly, and down it goes. Blue team has slain the dragon. Ocean Drake mirrored.
Yeah, really taking a little bit of control back in the map ever since they were able to take that mid lane turret down. Taking the mid lane turret is one of the most effective things you can do against a Twisted Fate to reduce his roaming. Because it's much harder for him to access the side lanes if he has to be pushed back into his own jungle so much. So good job on C9 for getting control of the mid lane and moving down to the Drake.
Let's see what else these teams can do now. Keen starting to play the split push role. They finally sent that mid laner off to the side lane, and don't know how often Jensen wants to be over there. It's easy for TF to get in and out of things than it is for Azir, although it's still a mobile champion. You see how fast Jensen can move when he plays it right. Just got to see what all they can get done. Contract's going towards Dead Man Plate. Further movement speed for him. Chaser, quick dive into Hex Drinker for durability. Knows that Jensen can be very scary. Smoothie the same. Ray right now playing defensively. Several members of Team Dignitas down to the bot side. Chaser going to play for vision. An aggressive control ward to know that he's safe. Keen not close enough to look for the dive just yet. But look how far back Ray is playing. He's giving complete control over to the bot lane right now. He's letting them go for it. He's letting Maokai get free damage on this turret. C9 looking for a play on the other side of the map instead, sacking bot lane outer to make a play for top lane. Here comes the play. The kick on a lot. Ash Arrow doesn't mean enough. They're just going to have all the damage they need. He burns Splash for nothing. Bit of a waste there. Ray is suddenly top lane. Maybe could have held bot and TP'd anyway, but either way, it's going to be a trade of turrets as Someday is still down to the bot side of the map. Top will drop as well.
Still a very solid play for Cloud9 for now. We'll see if they continue this push. Someday and Chaser don't kill the turrets extremely fast, but there's also a big numbers discrepancy on the other side of the map. The difference, though, is Keen can potentially clear the minion wave unless C9 can push off this, so they're going to be going for a second trade if they can get it.
Clearly, it would be very dangerous, of course. It's a 5v2 on that side of the map and a 2v0 on the other. You can see Team Dignitas still faster on the push. Yes, the turrets are traded equally. Yes, C9 got one more kill, so it's still, I guess, advantage to the blue team.
Yep.
But certainly not as bad as it might have looked.
Definitely advantage C9. So I like the play for them going up there, killing Laud, and especially having the kill onto Jensen is valuable because he is one of the champions that need to hyperscale into the late game, especially against the Maokais we were talking about earlier.
Unlucky.
Very unlucky on that. It's just going to keep healing, man.
Yep. Tries again.
Lod's gonna try and maybe steal it with the volley. No, he's too scared. Whoa! Contracts.
Well,
So Someday and Chaser stuck around on the bottom side of the map longer than you would have expected. Just waited for Contracts to wander there. We'll get a replay of that as soon as the action comes in.
yes, we will. And what a way to welcome the other stream viewers. I know your guys' match has ended, but welcome here to this one, Game 2.
Hello.
Dignitas.
You thought you were finding raptors, but you found a Maokai and a Kha'Zix. I'm sorry.
Yep. As we all know, raptors hunt in packs. For some reason, that pack includes a tree and an insect, but just the way it is.
Did you learn that from Jurassic Park?
I did learn that from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Questionable source. We'll see.
What, that's not a historical documentary?
Surprisingly, no.
Really? It looks so real.
Yeah.
Wait, then where'd they get the dinosaurs from?
The magic of modern cinema, I have no idea.
Fair enough. Well, Lod killing raptors himself. Clearly, he knows how it's done. He watched the movie. Standing in brush makes it much easier, as we can tell. Team Dignitas with the 700 gold lead. A trading of jungle camps right now. 4 turrets to 3. Lots of the map has been pushed away. The difference, though, is that C9 still holds their mid lane outer turret, so it's hard for Dignitas to play around that bastion of power because they just can't push that wave in very far and deny the vision more than they would otherwise like to.
Exactly, and C9's trying to get as much vision as possible above the Baron area and really defend this mid lane turret as long as possible because that keeps their access to Baron as clean as they can get it. Even though this game is 500 gold in the edge of Team Dignitas, the power is really, I feel like, shifting towards C9 at least temporarily. As long as Someday doesn't get in the right kind of team fight here, since he is the one who is the most far ahead here.
67 minions. He's literally 1.5x Ray's farm right now, exactly. And here we go. The chase is on. He's going to get away real quick. Contract stunned up. That Lee Sin, of course, not super tanky. He's got to respect the damage output from Lod. He will do so getting away cleanly enough.
Yeah, and Team Dignitas is trying to do the 1-3-1 right now, though. So Keen already knows there's 2 turrets down on this side. If he can get that next turret, it opens up an inhibitor, which is amazing for Twisted Fate. If they can kill this turret, it opens up so much for them on the map.
Unfortunately for him, his push speed not quite high yet. Didn't get the Lich Bane completed. Sheen helps, absolutely, but the side quest to pick up the Negatron Cloak slows down his offensive build. It's the right choice facing an Azir. It just means he doesn't kill the turrets as fast as he might like to. Mid lane cleared once again. It was Team Dignitas who did that first, so they get to walk into the river. And Cloud9 plays second fiddle to them, waiting around, hoping to get things to happen. Ray sent to the bot side to clean up the junk wave. His teleport up soon enough that he can get back on the map and join the team if they need him. Otherwise, the core 4 of Cloud9, the team fight core, really trying to stay together and get control back over mid in that top river.
Yeah, and while C9 has good vision control in Team Dignitas' red side jungle by the Baron Pit, they have very poor vision control near the Inferno Drake, which is up in 15 seconds.
Yep.
Lod's Ash Arrow up in 27 seconds, as we see it ticking down on the bottom left of the screen. So you have to wonder whether or not Team Dignitas is looking for a pick. Considering there is a Sunfire Cape up for Someday over Ray, the tanks are a little bit skewed as far as power goes right now.
Looks like it's partially a poke battle as well, but it's Team Dignitas who controlled the vision better. It's darkness where they're all standing right now. C9 have to face check brushes to a certain extent, and there's the burn down. Quickly picked up. Chaser grabs that, not even a problem. Evolved Q, evolved W for the poke, and he's feeling good.
Absolutely, so not even worrying about those team fight resets. We're seeing a lot more of that on Kha'Zix actually, as the evolved Q and W, because the W evolve is so potent.
Especially in pro play, there's just less kills in professional games. I think if you're playing at home, I probably would still keep it the E evolve. People run around and die all the time, but poke means a lot, the slow means a lot. You might get that catch because of it.
Very true. And I feel like the main thing that is keeping C9 from going for team fights here is the massive discrepancy between Ray and Someday in farm.
Yep. And Keen with the Lich Bane now means he's really very scary against these turrets. Actually had a few more seconds alone. Turns out that C9 was slow on the rotation, but Keen, playing risk averse, doesn't want to give up a free kill and give away Baron control, chooses to back off and stay alive. Full stack Rod of Ages still will not make him survive a 1v3. He will die if that happens, so playing it safely, but still constantly pushing up to the turret. Takes slow chip damage from minions, and even the mid lane actually, C9 just losing control of the game right now. Team Dignitas just first on the play repeatedly.
Definitely true, but still a very close game. As we know from last game, Team Dignitas had a 2,000 or 3,000 gold lead on C9, but one team fight goes awry, Elder Drake goes awry, and the game is over.
I definitely agree that's happened before, and it may still. It does feel like Team Dignitas has a better play slow composition. I think nothing happening is okay for them as they slowly whittle down sides of the map, but we'll still have to see. It's all about the execution at the end of the day. Chaser wanted to execute a red buff here. Contract's gonna see him. Lands the Q. Keen's right there, though. Be careful. Here comes the damage output. Ray face chucks the wall with his Q, but it's still a knock-up on a Chaser. And it's back in for Contract, but he can't secure the kill. The trade does come through 1 for 1. Both junglers dead.
Oh, no.
Lantern, or the hook's going to land, yeah. But how much can they do? Where's the rest of the team? No one is really supporting. It's just Keen slowly running away.
Should have another Q up, but Keen's a little bit faster.
Ray's got Q in 1 second. Flashes over the arrow, gets the slow. Gonna Q him into the blast plant. Perfectly played! Perfectly played, but still Keen is able to flash out of it. That is a summoner down. 1 for 1 otherwise.
Yeah, the timing on Ray and understanding what Keen was going to be trying with that blast cone to get the Q in was awesome, but also just didn't have enough damage to finish off the kill. And at the end of the day, it is just jungler for jungler.
Yeah, and even flash for flash, although Ray's should be a slightly shorter cooldown, usually from his masteries. We'll see what as it goes on.
Yeah, but Keen has the
True.
Boots of Lucidity, so he's going to be getting the reduction from that side.
A 5% difference it is then.
Yeah.
Basically nothing. You're right, Chad. It basically doesn't change anything about it. You can see that fight again.
Yeah, Chaser sweeps, Contracts, just right place, right time. Ray, though, for all the dredge lines, that one wasn't that good. Hits the wall, but he does
double
ult
stun was
Chaser.
nice.
That
was so
jump
cool.
flash was super cool by Contracts. Unlucky, though, Kazakhs can still kill you when you jump to him. So, nice jungler matchup we're seeing here, and still a lot of tension being built up in this game. And you were mentioning earlier about, you know, who's okay with slow playing, and we're at an interesting inflection point in this game only because Someday is such a strong tank right now that he is the true front line, whereas now with the Frozen Heart, Ray's catching up a little bit, and I think that could potentially tilt it for C9, because front-to-back team fighting are just about a fairly simple thing. How quickly can your damage kill the enemy tank? So even if C9 has better backline damage dealers, that's canceled out if Dignitas' tanks are stronger. Likewise, Ray is weaker, and Team Dignitas' damage dealers don't kill them as fast. So they're kind of in this weird middle ground where neither team feels like they have a huge edge in a fight, 5v5, so they're more looking to just catch skirmishes here and there. And in that sense, the team with the Twisted Fate should be advantaged, at least for now.
Yeah, it makes total sense. You're just trying to look at the stat check. Sneaky gonna get stunned, but he's right under an Azir turret, so the Ashe arrow literally does nothing for him. Back onto the turret they go. Cloud9 whittling it down pretty hard. Watch out, Maokai's behind the wings, and Sneaky took a turret shot, so that is an 800 health marksman that you've got to give a bit of respect to. Maybe you should back off and find something to heal off of. Not a lot of healing available to him.
Interesting force now, though. Keen does have a Lich Bane, so he could take that turret down very quickly. And as you mentioned, Sneaky quite low already. C9 is looking to force a Baron right here with pink ward control, but they missed a ward. This is just going to open up Keen to take an inhibitor, because no way Team Dignitas has to check this.
Yeah, easy peasy. There you can see the wave clear special. Maybe looking for a bit of stops on recalls. Actually didn't look to shoot that brush. It could have meant a little bit. They're stopping Jensen from getting back in, because Jensen's the only one who went back to defend. And still, it's enough for Keen to walk away. Jensen clears the way, but that is a turret down.
Yeah, I have to point out right here, Contracts does not have an upgraded sweeper at level 13 in the game, and it's fairly standard for teams to bring 2 upgraded sweepers in the mid game. With that extra sweeping ability, they may have been able to spot that ward and prevent that inhibitor turret from going down. Yes, Lee Sin can ward jump to the trinket, which is a reason for the Lee Sin to keep the warding trinket around for longer. He already has Tracker's Knife, though, to give him that ability, as well as some control wards. So I feel like that could potentially be an itemization misplay that costs Team Dignitas the turret.
Definitely something to consider right here. Right now, gold difference very small. 1,500. Team Dignitas leading in gold most games they play, it feels like. We'll see if this time around they can close it down properly against a arguably stronger opponent in Cloud9, who did 2-0 TSM, did take game 1 here. Test still out, though. This is a very close game. These teams do look evenly matched. Looks like the 2 powerhouse squads in North America as far as early predictions are going and early results are suggesting. Someday still very much the real deal. 80 minions up, splitting, and then coming back to the team and splitting and coming back and still finding his way into participation. Chaser looking to play for the Vision game as Keen split pushes. Jensen set up the top lane, comes back to the team yet again, and look how far away he can kill wards from. Azir feels good.
Soldiers just get to hit wards. Here we go. They're going for a Baron rush right here. Keen could match teleport. It's just going to be a fight.
Arrow hits Jensen, but no follow-up again. A bit of an early shot out of Laud. And that is TP out of 1-7. They got to walk. They caught up Chaser. He ults, he flashes. He's trying to get away, gets a shield, and runs for dear life. Contract still on it. Looks for the kick, can't quite find it, and Contract will trade his life for this, I do believe. Jungler's both dead. 4v4, Xpecial slowed. Xpecial, one more hit will do him, and he just barely gets out. Heal from Laud saves his life.
And Keen saved everything. He did not follow, so this could be inhibitor very easily for Team Dignitas.
And look at that. Down it goes. Auto. Ray is here. And
sidestep.
Ooh, yeah, the Metal Gear just not doing enough damage here. Keen, what? Ray just didn't attack? That looked a little
weird.
strange. I don't know
Maybe
if
he
that
was trying to save an auto attack root.
He's saving the root.
Rudy was in range.
Yeah, I think that was the case. They land the root finally. He's saving the auto for a long time, finally gets it in. There we go. Keen's got to run out of health. Good rotation down by Sneaky. And though the inhibitor died, there's now almost a minute of 5v4 on the map.
Yeah, Keen is dead. Chaser dead, but Contracts is as well, which makes a Baron Force very difficult. C9 really deciding they do not have a 1v1 answer for Keen and don't want to play that stretched out game, so they're trying to shrink the map to the Baron area, but Team Dignitas was able to disengage enough to give Keen the window to take that inhibitor.
Okay, Cloud9, what do you do for 25 seconds? You just have map control. You've got 25 seconds to make the play. Right now, it's just the low-risk double Ocean Drake.
Exactly. I think it's fairly straightforward. They kill this Ocean Drake. The next one to spawn will be Elder at 36 minutes and 40 seconds, and they need to shove out the bottom lane as much as possible because with the super minions down there, you have to send someone back eventually to defend them, otherwise they kill your Nexus turrets, and Keen didn't even burn it all, so they go for a fight in the mid.
Pulls in on the Someday. Contract takes the arrow, but Someday, of course, very durable. There's the kickback. Contract's on a Laud. They're trying to take him out, but he can't get the damage. Chaser gets it on a Jensen. This is a great fight for Team Dignitas. Ray is running for dear life. Not enough damage dealt to Xpecial. This could be a great cleanup now as they're running away, trying to stay alive. A ward hop to escape the support. Contract's hoping he can finish the recall. Smoothie helping out Ray as best he can. The plants are there. Here comes the chase in. Pulls it right under the turret. Someday gets the knockup, and Ray is going to drop down. And that's going to be a turret picked off. Not even a problem. Team Dignitas 5 versus 3 on the map. Look for Baron.
Yeah, not a single casualty by Team Dignitas in that fight attempt by C9. Being able to get Jensen in the back, so valuable. Contracts have to pull a miracle. Great hawk shot.
Keen is going to do damage.
He's got flash gold card, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just holds his gold card for Contracts here.
Nice play. Flash tip. They're going to all jump out of the pit, make sure he dies, and now there's no chance to steal. I think that was as well played as it could have been. The cleanest Baron secure Dignitas could have had, shaking the old demons, and now a huge lead for the team.
They did it!
They did it.
They controlled the objective, and they were decisive in doing so. But let's watch the fight one more time. They didn't have Ray here. He was trying to shove, so they kind of opted into a 4v4. And they also only get Someday on the backside of it, so they try to get Laud, but then watch Chaser and Someday just pile on to Jensen. Keen also was able to ult in on the backside, so that's the difference. C9 did not have a front line at the start of that, and Someday was able to get right in there and absorb the majority of C9 damage.
A little bit of poke. You can see Sneaky's Q not doing all that much. Another play attempted as Jensen runs away into an arrow! Laud gets it from downtown! Up! Down he goes. Keen lands it. Couldn't have missed it if he tried. And that is a quick pickoff. Mid laner dead for Cloud9. Jensen 2-2. Mid lane tier 2 under fire. That's dropped down 2, and they're going to move for more.
And that's their main wave clear. Meanwhile, some days a 250 armor mega tank with 40 seconds down on Azir. This is at least 2 inhibitors. They might go for more.
2 turrets picked off on the push. 2 inhibitors down already. They've got a minion to push back as well. How much can they defend? 5v4. Card comes in. Shot comes in. Ray only hits a minion.
Waiting on the next minion wave. It is a super minion wave with Baron empowering.
There we go. Someday engages, tanks up the turret. They're going mostly for the structure damage, but Laud's got to be careful. Getting locked up repeatedly. Contracts gets the kill. Sneaky running. Can't get away in time. Chase with a flash Q takes him out. In the front line, Maokai took down Contracts, and Jensen going to respawn in 7. Ray running out of health. Smoothie doing what he can to keep them alive, but the big shields from Xpecial just removes all the damage like it never even happened. And looks like there's no chance for Cloud9. Team Dignitas gonna secure the game and bring us to game 3.
And that was a nice finish by Team Dignitas. Keen on the Twisted Fate was able to execute the split push, which is a great sign for Team Dignitas as they had been having some issues with coordination in the late game despite having some early game leads. So being able to close it out in this fashion against Cloud9 in 34 minutes is impressive.
It definitely is good by these guys. C9 were the power-ranked #1 team in North America by most people's expectations. And Team Dignitas playing them close both times, winning early game both times, this time actually closing it out. Maybe people need to reevaluate just how strong Team Dignitas really is. They definitely have looked good every game they've played, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, preseason power rankings, a lot of people had C9 1, and then they were thinking it was TSM fairly clearly #2, but TSM got bopped yesterday, did not look clean in their game against Immortals. And yeah, the most optimistic of people had Team Dignitas around 3.
3-4, yeah.
And they could potentially, if they were able to close out this next game, be tied for first after 1 week after playing some pretty good competition. So very exciting.
It is very exciting. It's going to be a whole bunch more fun to watch this Game 3, and we will have that soon. But to give us more on this neck-and-neck game, we're going to pass it down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. All I have to say is yes, yes, yes. Give me more League of Legends like this. This was an exciting game. This series, moving to Game 3 here, has been stellar.
I mean, it's like pretty early in the season to say this, but this is one of like the best matchups I could hope to see in terms of the draft phase, how they actually played out their team comps with 2 different strategies. The fact that it was very clean, everyone was doing like what their comp was supposed to do, and it was played so tight the whole way. No like extra stuff done, no random deaths. It was so clean.
Yeah, you mentioned the draft and how clean it kind of was from there all the way to the end of the game to some degree. I mean, all weekend, we've been harping on teams for mistakes in the draft.
Right.
But here, these 2 different teams both put together intelligent drafts, you know, with what they were throwing at each other.
Right, I think we've seen a lot of people getting pinched in weird ways, but here, C9 bans the MF early with, you know, Dig doing the kind of typical red side bans. They do the MF early, which opens up Zyra because she doesn't have her strongest counter pick available, with 2 other mid bans to avoid giving over too many OPs to the double picking red side. From there, they take the strongest things available with the Ashe and Kha'Zix, and then C9 matches with Varus Lee, which was very smart because you and I were talking, and we were tempted to say, why didn't you take a Maokai or something better there?
Right.
But both these players in the top lane for both teams like tanks and carries, and you can't pinch both pools.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get baited into picking a tank and trying to pinch somehow.
And this is where we're seeing the advantages that you get by having players that have deep or wide champion pools, in that, okay, they can't pinch this anymore. So it's going to very much determine the way we can draft. Now, of course, if Ray, let's say, for example, could only play tanks, it completely changes this draft for Dignitas, knowing we don't have to worry about a Fiora or worry about a Jarvan or whatever the heck he might bring out.
Right, and Dig continues to play, draft smart as well. They take the Karma away, realizing that the thing left to get pinched on is the support position. And then from there, Dig and C9 basically swap bans back and forth, where Dig wants some kind of power pick in the mid lane that's a control mage, or Oriana's ban. C9 recognize this, ban Cassio. They don't get that one. Same thing back and forth here. Dig, they want tank versus tank matchup, ban the Fiora. Maybe they can still grab the Jace. C9 says, nope, not doing that either. So they get tank versus tank, and then they have some interesting mid lane picks.
Dignitas on your screens now. They're probably pretty hyped up. I mean, they look fairly animated in their discussions here about Game 3, but having gotten this victory over Cloud9 and moving into Game 3, they're going to have some confidence. I do want to jump in to our only replay of this game. 31 minutes in, Dignitas get a nice little turn here in a fight, plus a Baron on the back end of it.
Right, and this is the kind of play that C9 really needed to force. They were under map pressure the entire game by Dignitas, and they go hard on the tank, which isn't the best target, but they need to start something.
This by Contract,
and Contract,
sick mechanical play.
Such a good play, but the problem is, due to that map pressure, they're down TP, and Ray is nowhere to be found. If they had the tank initially able to follow up on that CC, they probably win this fight, but they don't. So Contracts, great play. Too bad, able to get out by Laud. And then from there, they're able to clean up a couple more kills. Dig's able to turn this one around, and they use this to grab the Baron. And then with that Baron buff, having this great map play that they have, they're able to 1-3-1, pick people off, and ultimately win the game.
Yep, and this was also following, of course, the crazy amount of pressure that Keen was able to provide with that TF. I mean, double teleports plus the TF ultimate, building that Lich Bane so that he has pretty solid split push pressure. We definitely saw them spread out the map, and that's where we, Cloud9 struggled at times and maybe felt a little bit too rushed there and having to pull off that engage.
Right, and that's what the draft comes so interesting, is because they're forced into these late, deep pocket picks into the mid lane. We see, C9 opting for more of the team fighting thing, and Dignitas having the last pick and say, you know what, TF's good here, let's try it, let's get this split push going, and it works. And the insane thing to think about, too, is when you watch Ray's play in this game, like, C9 might have 2 of the best top laners in the league on their own team.
Yeah.
The stuff he was doing was so smart, holding his passive, the way that he interacted with the blast cone to hook TF out of it. All the stuff Ray was doing was out of this world. And C9 on your screen now. Got to figure out what they want to do in the next game.
Yeah, and he's received high praise from his teammates as a, I'm going to put it in air quotes, you can't see him on the screen, as a secondary top laner, that the team has just as much confidence in him as they do in Impact as a top laner. I want to move us on to player of the game here. This was a tough decision. Ultimately, it's going to go to Someday because he was up early in CS, a 404 scoreline, really solid, but the other runner-up rather, was Keen, again, because of his utilization of that TF pick to really spread the map out.
Yeah, I mean, it is a team victory, this game in particular. I think a lot of games so far, someone's got an advantage and they've kind of ran away with the game. Sometimes you see where multiple people are messing up and it's hard to pick one. This is a hard one to pick because it was just so clean by both teams, and ultimately you got to give it to someone, and Someday had a great game.
All right, so here we go. We go into game 3 of this very big matchup between two Titans. I know it's week 1, but I'm going to call them Titans just because of the play that they've displayed to us so far. What do you want to see done here? How does C9 get a victory? How does Dignitas get a victory?
It's really scary because now that C9 is off of the blue side, they can't take out the things like TF in the first round of the draft potentially. And with Dig going on to the blue side, they can maybe opt into the same kind of strategy where now they have the free bans and they continue banning out control mages mid, and C9 is stuck banning out the OP red picks on the first rotation of the draft. So it's really close, and it really depends on how these teams want to change, because I think they have a lot of options.
All right, Impact will be coming back in for game 3, so of course we'll see how that affects the matchup. That's not really going to change the viable picks in the top lane, but it is just a different player.
Right. I mean, you can say they have more consistency. They've been with Impact longer. There's a bunch of reasons you could say that they're moving back to him, though I doubt it's because Ray was disappointing. I think that when they start getting worked around the map, maybe Impact's better in presence, and being in situations like that would have helped.
All right, well, now I want to take a moment to jump over to the FlyQuest and Team Liquid game that ended a bit ago on NALCS 2. For those of you who didn't see, FlyQuest was able to unseat Team Liquid here, finish out 2-0 on the week for a team that was, preseason ranked 9-10, maybe somewhere in the NALCS. It was a very impressive performance out of FlyQuest.
Right, and I think they proved a lot of us wrong by addressing some of the concerns for why we thought they could be weak. Primarily high balls and Lemon being exploitable in the laning phase, but they actually held up pretty well against what most people would assume is going to be a good bot lane in TL.
Yep.
Lorlo and balls went pretty even, with probably a little favor towards Lorlo, of course, but then High actually looked really good and forced TL into a lot of bad spots in the draft where he's getting into these weird pocket picks, and it doesn't seem like many people are willing to match him in that.
And where yesterday Team Liquid did start off in some deficits and claw their way back into a victory over CLG, today they weren't able to come together as a team and really strike back when they were at a disadvantage. The only top performer really, or consistent performer, I'll say, on Team Liquid is Lorlo. I mean, this guy today also coming out with the Fiora and showing he can play the carries as well.
Right, we saw amazing tank performance out of him in the past. In this series, he had amazing Fiora play. It was a close game 1. The Team Liquid was not winning this easily, and Lorlo played team fight super well. This isn't like you're playing Fiora in an advantage situation. This is playing Fiora in a disadvantage situation and not dying in team fights, getting kills, split pushing down turrets. This play alone was insane. Like,
if this rolls all the way out, guys, you're in for a treat.
I mean, I forget which caster said it, but it was basically killing Maokai 3 times. He pops the GA.
He's been taking the turret this whole time, by the way, life stealing through it.
Yeah, Maokai gets up, heals back, comes back again. He's gonna kill him, and then the rest of C9 or FlyQuest. Oh, he did it again.
He did it again.
They're like, okay, we gotta stop Fiora. He's gonna end the game if we don't stop him. We gotta send someone back. Okay, Altec, you take care of it. Nope, not enough. Send another one back.
Oh, but he'll die to these turrets, right?
No, not at all.
No, he will not. And Zyra will not get him. Lorlo there, 606 from memory, if I believe I'm correct, on the KDA there. So he's making a name for himself in this discussion of top laners in the NALCS, where Someday comes in, Impact is in there, Ray, Flame. I mean, we've got some, and Looper, former world champion. Okay, here we go. Homegrown NA talent in Lorlo stepping up for Team Liquid. The problem is the team around him seems to be falling apart.
Right, after that great Fiora performance, FlyQuest, very intelligent, starts banning out some more of the carry top laners, and when he's relegated onto the tanks, he's still doing well, but the rest of the team was nowhere to be found. Mid lane was under fire the entire game. Rainover did not look impressive. Moon out-jungled him the entire series. And Piglet and Matt had some high points, but also some really low points where they were just going too aggressive and getting caught out for their mistakes.
Again, it's early in the season, so who's to say how well Team Liquid will progress as a team. But we also had some questions around Golden Glue in the mid lane and maybe pulling in Link. he was banned down on to his 5th, 6th pick, it didn't seem like he had the mechanical mastery of these champions to really perform on the NALCS stage.
Yeah, a lot of his Azir ults going the wrong way. Katarina didn't look like he was 100% comfortable in the LeBlanc Katarina matchup, so there's some concerns there as well. And I think if this were a time where you wanted to put Link in, this might have been a good series to do it, but it's hard to say exactly what Team Liquid was thinking. Maybe don't want to shake his confidence by pulling him out of a series in the first week of the split, give him a little bit more time to gain some confidence and say, you know, we're going to stick with you for a little bit. We're not just going to bench you because you're having 1-2 bad games.
And while FlyQuest is now 2-0 on the week, funnily enough, the winner of this matchup here between C9 and Dignitas will be joining them. We are going to have to take a quick break, but don't touch that browser because when we return, C9 and Dignitas will battle for a 2-0 Week 1 finish.
Chaser once again to pull aggro. No, it's actually Keen who does so, and they get enough damage. First blood comes through. Keen able to walk away. Maokai's nowhere to be seen. Uh-oh, double kill quickly in, kick into the wall. Contract picks one back, runs away from Lod, stays alive. Contract's still on it, looks for the kick, can't quite find it, and Contract will trade his life for this, I do believe. Junglers both dead. 4v4, Xpecial slowed. Xpecial, one more hit'll do him, and he just barely gets out. Heal from Lod saves his life.
Okay. I can go. Okay. Fight. Can win. Okay. Can go.
But Lod's got to be careful. Getting locked up repeatedly. Contracts gets the kill. Sneaky running. Can't get away in time. Chase with a flash Q takes him out. Team Dignitas gonna secure the game and bring us to game 3.